Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Creator Weekly for June 11th, 2023. I'm coming to you live from the gloomy San Francisco Bay Area. I hope you're having a great weekend. Today, I'm going to talk about my top creator updates, including the new terms of service for Twitch, the upcoming Reddit protest blackout, the new Apple Vision Pro augmented reality goggles, whatever you call them, and some updates for webmasters, including changes to how Apple will handle links and new AI composition tools for WordPress. Thank you for joining me today. If you're here live, I would love to know where you're watching from and what you think about this week's updates. So let's get started. One of the big updates this week was the new terms for Twitch. Now, I am not a Twitch streamer, so these terms don't affect me directly, but I've been reading a lot of discussion about this online, and that's partially because people are confused about the new terms, and also because the new branding guidelines for monetized creators were really, really restrictive. And there was a huge backlash, and then Twitch decided to go back and change the terms. So it was a little bit clearer what they were trying to restrict. Let me see. So the first thing I wanted to share is what the new terms look like. If you use Twitch, you should check out these new terms of service because they likely affect you. There's a lot of information here, but I wanted to point out in particular the new clause about simulcasting. It says when you're streaming live on Twitch services, you may not simultaneously live stream or broadcast on any other Twitch-like service, meaning any web-based network, platform, or service that supports live streaming of user-generated content. For clarity, you may simulcast on mobile-first services that support live streaming. And this does not apply to nonprofit or government entities live streaming for non-commercial purposes. Now, this used to only apply to Twitch streamers who were monetizing. This appears to now apply to everyone. It's not clear how this will be enforced, but elsewhere, Twitch clarifies that the Twitch-like services they're talking about are like YouTube or Facebook. You're not allowed to simulcast to those. So you can't live stream to both YouTube and Twitch simultaneously. At least that's how I read this term. But you are allowed to live stream at the same time to services that are primarily vertical video. So it's okay to live stream at the same time to TikTok or to Instagram. It is really, really not clear. It is really not clear how Twitch will actually enforce these terms. There have been a lot of questions. I expect there'll be more information coming, hopefully, when Twitch clarifies. Now, the other thing that Twitch did was update their monetized streamer agreement. So if you're on Twitch and monetizing your content, you should absolutely review this agreement. It looks like affiliates basically get put on this agreement automatically. Partners will need to review them and accept them. And there are some changes where the good change I've seen a lot of people excited about is that you're no longer restricted to streaming only on Twitch, and you can stream to other platform or services. There's still the limitation you're not allowed to simulcast, but you can live stream on Twitch and then live stream on YouTube and come back and forth if you want, it sounds like. You're also allowed to post videos on demand anywhere you wish immediately after you have streamed. So again, you can live stream on Twitch and then presumably take that recording and immediately upload it to your YouTube channel. There are some other changes where you see revenue sharing information on your dashboard, and there's no set term of the contract, so you can leave the program at any time. There's some updates to tax information. So all of these are really important changes if you are monetizing on Twitch. I wanted to also mention, though, that there were additional branding guidelines where YouTube had very restrictive guidelines on what you could do to advertise other sites in your live stream. It talked about you could only have a logo that was 3% of the screen and no overlays, and very restrictive. People were upset because this was a problem with their sponsorship contracts they'd already signed, said that they would be, advertising these things. And then Twitch backtracked on that. They clarified they were really only talking about third-party advertising networks, not creator sponsorships. You can see what they wrote on Twitter, where it says, yesterday we released new branded content guidelines that impacted your ability to work with sponsors to increase your income from streaming. These guidelines are bad for you and bad for Twitch, and we are removing them immediately. So that was pretty surprising, but it's clear that strong user feedback works. I'll note that on Twitter, there is this reader note that says Twitch's terms of service still state that Twitch users may not insert embedded advertisements or banner ads. I believe that has actually been updated as of today, or at least when I checked today. So again, if you live stream on Twitch, you should read these terms really carefully because they will affect you one or another. All right. The next update, so give me just a second to switch tabs. The next update I wanted to talk about is this upcoming protest blackout on Reddit. Now, if you are active on Reddit, you have almost certainly seen the discussion of the blackout. You can see there's a lot of different subreddits that are going to be participating. And the issue is that Reddit announced in April that they were going to update their terms for their API. The API is how third-party apps access the data from Reddit. One of the updates they said was going to be they were going to start charging for using the API. They didn't give any rates. Then at the beginning of this month, they announced how expensive it was going to be to use the API. And basically, it's so expensive, third-party apps can't afford it. So they are planning to shut down at the end of June. This, of course, has caused a lot of outcry. While probably not a high percentage of Reddit users use these third-party apps like Apollo and Reddit is fun, a lot of power users and a lot of moderators use these tools. So what Reddit is doing is basically shutting off tools that the moderators need. Will this blackout help? It's not clear. But what's happening is these large subreddits are going to prevent new posts. They may even go private starting tomorrow, Monday, June 12th, and it's going to last for at least 48 hours. It will be interesting to see how Reddit responds. There was an Ask Me Anything with Spez, who is the CEO and co-founder of Reddit. It did not go well. They didn't really answer questions or say that they were going to fix anything other than some assistive tools will be allowed to use the API for free, I believe. So for example, a lot of screen reader apps need to do that. There was a subreddit, r blind, where the moderators are all vision impaired, and they said, we need to use these third-party tools to even moderate our subreddit at all. So there's going to be a small exception. The other third-party tools and apps that everyone loves, so far it doesn't sound like there's going to be any exception or decrease in how much money they have to pay, so they probably still will be shutting down at the end of the month. It will be interesting to see how that affects activity on Reddit. So those were two of the big announcements this week. But the really big, exciting announcement that generated a lot of buzz was Apple's announcement of the new Apple Vision Pro. Now, the Apple Vision Pro is their new mixed reality or augmented reality goggles. And they don't look that exciting from the outside, but the whole point that Apple is saying is that these aren't just augmented reality goggles. This is new spatial computing. They want to say it's a whole new paradigm where you basically can put these goggles on and you can have giant monitors, virtual monitors, anywhere. And it's more a working tool than for playing games, the way that Meta's Oculus Quest is. They also talk about how it's great. You can have a big screen for watching movies or other video, and it takes 3D video of your family. So the camera in there is 3D, and then you can play it back sitting alone on your couch. There's a lot of sitting alone on your couch kind of discussion. You can also have a meeting with giant video feeds. Overall, it doesn't seem that exciting to me in terms of what features it has available, but Apple is saying this is their new step forward. It's this sort of visual computing, spatial computing, and it's not a toy. This is serious. When it's actually released next year, it's going to be $3,500. And obviously, most people can't afford that. Right now, you have to use a battery pack. The battery pack only lasts 2 hours. So this is clearly an early version. But I think we will see some people who are early adopters, real enthusiasts, and developers using the new headset when it's released. It will be very interesting to see how this actually affects the way people create content, if it catches on. Because it's this giant screen, 4K video feeds, Maybe this will push people to generate higher resolution video feeds. Maybe not. We will see. I'm kind of excited just to try it. Maybe at an Apple store. We'll find out. The other thing, well, among many other things that Apple announced was new privacy and security features. And I will switch to this tab. And what's important for creators is to look at this new link tracking protection. It says some websites add extra information to the URLs in order to track users across other websites. Now this information will be removed from links users share in messages and mail. And the links will still work as expected. This information will also be removed from links in Safari private browsing. Now, this is actually a big change because, as it's noted, a lot of websites and marketers put this little tracking code on the end of their links, in part to see where people are clicking them. How this is going to affect people who are trying to optimize their website for views, how people are marketing on the web. It's not clear how this is going to affect everyone. This also only affects links in Apple Mail and Apple's messages, and that's obviously only a fraction of the links that are shared. Will other platforms like Google, like Microsoft, follow suit? If they do, this could be a huge shift in the way webmasters, web developers track their links online. So that's something else to watch. And I am switching back to just me to mention that the other update this week is a big reminder from Google that if you have a website with analytics, you need to switch to Google Analytics 4 before July 1st. That's when the current Google Analytics is shut down. If you have not switched already, do it now. And, it's not that hard. They have a sort of automatic switching tool, but that doesn't configure the Google Analytics 4 for you. So you may want to do that and then spend some time configuring your Google Analytics 4 to make sure it's collecting and showing you the data that you want to see. Honestly, I haven't really figured out how to use it well. It's really geared towards marketers and advertisers. There's a lot of that data, and I'm not using any of those tools. So it's probably overkill for me, but I do like to see the graphs and everything. I'm still learning about it. So this is a reminder to you to do that if you have a website. The other cool tool I want to talk about today is the new Jetpack AI assistant in WordPress.com. Jetpack is a package of plugins created by WordPress. The latest is a tool that lets you generate titles. It lets you write drafts. So you can write a prompt. It says, like, write a list of Tokyo's must-visit destinations, and it will write a draft. Again, like all these large language model AIs, the facts may not be correct. So I strongly recommend you not actually just take what was generated and post that, but you can use it as a sort of outline or a format to use. There's spelling and grammar. You can adjust your tone to match your audience. Find that perfect creative title. This seems kind of exciting to me. I'm terrible with titles. So the AI assistant it says it can read the text. That seems a little anthropomorphized. What it does is it takes in the text and then creates a hopefully good title from that. And you can translate your writing with a single click. Again, there's always a big caveat. If you don't speak the language it's being translated to, it may not be an accurate translation, but it's probably a good start. And the really neat feature is that this is free to use for all WordPress.com customers, at least for a limited time. So if you have a WordPress.com blog, no matter what your subscription level is, you should be able to try this. You can activate the block with the inserter or the / command shortcut. So this is something to try. This is similar to Google's AI draft generator in Google Docs, same idea, although that does not generate headlines. So I recommend you give that a try. So that is all the updates for this week. I'd love to hear in the comments which updates you're most excited about and anything new that you've tried. Join me next week for next week's Creator News, and I will see you then. Have a fantastic week.